Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into lean management. It's a system focused on maximizing efficiency, effectiveness, basically by getting rid of waste and boosting quality.
That's right. It sounds straightforward, maybe, but its impact across different industries has been, well, pretty huge. It started, as you probably know, with Toyota back in post-war Japan making cars. But these ideas, doing more with less, they're everywhere now.
Okay. And we've looked at quite a bit of material on this, haven't we?
We have, yeah. We've gone through a range of sources to really give you a clear picture of what lean management is all about. Our mission today is to look at where it came from, its key focus areas, the core principles behind it, and maybe how it works in the real world.
Right. So by the end, you should have a solid grasp of lean and why it's still so relevant. Okay, so let's start at the beginning then. You mentioned Toyota and cars. How did this whole lean thing actually, get started?
Well, to really get lean, it helps to go back a bit further. The car itself was invented way back 1880s. That was the spark. But a really big step, a precursor, you could say, was Henry Ford's assembly line around 1910.
Ah, the assembly line. That was revolutionary, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Organizing workers, parts, tools along a conveyor. It slashed the time to build a car, something like 728 hours down to just 1.5 hours.
Wow. 1.5 hours. That's incredible. Mass production right there.
Exactly. Early, powerful mass production.
So what changed after World War II? Why did Japan need a new approach? You mentioned Toyota.
Right. Well, after the war, Japan's economy was totally different from the U.S. Demand was low. Resources were extremely limited. So the American model, making huge amounts to cut costs, it just wouldn't work. They couldn't afford it.
Why not?
Toyota realized they needed a different strategy. One driven by what customers actually needed right then, not just churning stuff out and hoping it sold. They couldn't waste money on, piles of materials or idle equipment.
So the limitations actually spurred innovation. That's interesting.
Precisely. What started as just-in-time production, or JIT, at Toyota, its whole aim was to cut out any waste and use their workers' skills fully. And a huge part of that was keeping inventory super low. Minimal inventory.
Okay.
And Toyota also pioneered something called cellular manufacturing.
Cellular manufacturing.
Yeah. Grouping machines and people into teams or cells. They'd focus on similar items or processes. It just streamlined the whole flow of work, made it much more efficient.
Okay, so this intense focus on minimizing anything extra at Toyota, that was the seed for lean. Now, the sources we looked at talk quite a bit about the 7 wastes. What exactly are these things lean tries to, get rid of?
Yeah, this is really central to lean. Waste, in this context, it's anything that slows production down or stops it happening at the lowest cost. Think of it as, anything that doesn't actually add value from the customer's perspective. These 7 wastes are like the big roadblocks to efficiency.
Got it. Okay, so lay them out for us. What are the 7 ways businesses should be hunting down?
Okay. First up is excess transport. Unnecessary movement of materials, products.
Like parts moving back and forth across a factory.
Exactly. That's transport waste.
Yeah.
Then, number 2, defects, errors, mistakes, stuff that needs fixing, that costs time, resources.
Makes sense.
Third is excess motion. This is unnecessary movement of the workers or equipment. So in a factory, maybe a worker walking ages to get a tool, or in a service business. Think about having to queue up multiple times for different things instead of one stop.
Ah, okay, like at the bank or something?
Right. That repeat queuing, that's motion waste for the customer.
Okay, so anything not directly adding value, what's next?
Number 4, overproduction. This is a big one. Making more than you need or making it before you need it.
And I guess that leads to the next one.
It often does, yeah. Number 5 is excess inventory. Holding too much stuff, raw materials, work in progress, finished goods, more than you actually need.
Right. All that stock just sitting there costs money, takes up space.
Exactly. Ties up capital, can get damaged, go out of date. It's just inefficient.
Okay, so that's 5. What are the last 2?
6th is waiting time. Any idle time. People waiting, machines waiting for the next step.
Like a machine waiting for parts. Or me waiting in a long queue.
Precisely. Those customer queues are prime examples of waiting time waste in services. Things like digital kiosks, SMS alerts when your table's ready. They try to cut that down.
Self-service checkouts too, I suppose.
Yeah, another example aiming to reduce customer waiting. And finally, number 7, overprocessing.
Overprocessing, what's that?
It's doing more work on a product or service than the customer actually values or wants to pay for. Adding features, extra steps that don't really enhance the outcome for them.
Okay, so it's all about stripping things back to what the customer really needs and doing that super efficiently. Now, our sources also mentioned something called four principles. How does that fit in with the seven waste? Is it like another angle on lean?
Yeah, exactly. Four Principles is actually a company. It started around 2010. Their goal was to kind of distill the core ideas of lean from Toyota and this Japanese concept of Kaizen.
Kaizen.
Yeah, it means continuous improvement. They wanted to make Kaizen and lean more accessible, more practical. So they boiled it down into four main principles that all connect.
Okay.
So you could think of the seven waste as the problems lean targets, and these four principles as the strategies to solve them.
Right. Got it. So what are these four key principles then?
Okay, the first one is pull.
Pull.
Yeah. The idea is that customer demand dictates the production rate. You don't just produce based on a forecast and hope for the best. You make what customers are actually asking for when they ask for it. This massively reduces overproduction and the need for big stockpiles of inventory.
Less inventory means lower costs, less risk of things getting damaged or going out of date.
Exactly. The customer is effectively pulling the value through the whole process. It makes businesses much more adaptable, especially today when markets change so fast.
That sounds much smarter than just pushing products out. Okay, what's principle number 2?
Second is one-piece flow.
One-piece flow. Okay.
So instead of making things in big batches, the idea is production moves through the process one single unit at a time, smoothly, continuously. This cuts out waiting time, idle time between steps. Each stage focuses on adding value just to that one piece and gets rid of wasteful activities.
So it keeps everything moving constantly, like a river, not a series of ponds.
That's a great analogy, yeah. A smooth, continuous flow. It leads to, well, better efficiency, lower costs, less waste, and actually better quality, too, because you spot problems much faster with just one piece.
Okay, that makes sense. Keep it moving one at a time. What's principle 3?
Principle 3 is Takt. T-A-K-T.
Takt. Like a conductor's baton.
Sort of. It's the rhythm, the heartbeat of the lean system. It represents the rate of production you need to meet actual customer demand. So takt time is the average time between starting one unit and starting the next.
Could you give an example?
Sure. If, say, a customer buys one of your products every 10 minutes, then your takt time is 10 minutes. You need to finish one product every 10 minutes to keep up.
Ah, okay. So it links production speed directly to buying speed.
Exactly. It's crucial for figuring out capacity, how many resources you need. It helps establish a consistent workflow that's still flexible enough to adjust if demand changes.
Right. Match the pace to the demand. And the final principle, number 4.
The fourth is zero defects.
Aiming for perfection, basically.
Pretty much. It's this constant pursuit of perfection. Identifying errors, defects, as close as possible to where they happen, and crucially, not accepting them or passing them along the line.
So fix problems immediately.
Yes, address them right away. Resolves them quickly, stops waste building up. It's about building quality into the process from the start, not just inspecting it at the end. This boosts efficiency and ultimately profitability.
Okay, pull, one-piece flow, takt, and zero defects. They really do seem to build on getting rid of those 7 wastes we talked about. Now, clearly, lean management has these strong principles. But what about the real world? What are the actual benefits? And are there, challenges or downsides?
Yeah, there are definitely significant plus points. You often see reduced energy and resource use, good for costs, good for the planet. Delays get minimized, so things happen faster. Worker productivity tends to go up because processes are smoother.
Less frustration for workers, too, maybe.
Could be, yeah. And there's less uncertainty overall because things are more predictable. And the big one, usually, is increased customer satisfaction.
Those all sound very positive. But it can't be all smooth sailing, right? Are there any drawbacks?
No, absolutely there are challenges. Lean isn't magic, and it requires real commitment. You need dedicated, skilled employees who are actually engaged in the process.
What if they're resistant?
That can be a major hurdle. If employees resist or feel like their ideas aren't valued, it's tough. Also, that constant focus on improvement, on cutting waste, it can potentially lead to workplace stress if it's not managed well.
I can see that constant pressure.
And you need really good relationships with your suppliers, especially if you're relying on just-in-time deliveries. Plus, while it saves money long-term, setting up lean systems, well, it can cost quite a bit up front sometimes.
So it's a big commitment. Needs careful handling of people, processes, costs. Now, one of the sources had this great case study, Hallmark Cards. Greeting cards going lean. That seems different. How did that work?
Yeah, it's a fantastic example of how lean isn't just for factories. So back in the 80s, Hallmark had this massive problem.
What was it?
It was taking them 2 years to get a new greeting card design from concept to market. 2 years.
2 years? For a card, wow. Why so long?
Apparently, the designs were being physically shuffled between different buildings in their complex in Kansas. Just loads of delays, unnecessary movement, classic waste, really.
Right. 2 years in the card business. Trends change way faster than that. So what did they do? Did they just, like, fire designers?
No, interestingly, the president at the time decided not to lay people off when they needed to cut costs. Instead, he pushed for reorganizing production. Managers from all over got together to figure it out.
Okay, so what was the solution?
They focused on one specific line, their shoebox cards, and they implemented cellular manufacturing.
Cellular manufacturing.
Yeah.
Just like Toyota you mentioned earlier.
Exactly the same principle. They put the artists and writers together in these work cells on one floor. And then, crucially, the production needed was set up right below them.
Ah, so it cut out all that shuffling between buildings.
Precisely. Drastically reduced the unnecessary movement, the transport waste, the waiting time.
And what happened? What was the result?
The results were, well, pretty dramatic. By applying these lean ideas, Hallmark cut that production time from 2 years
Yeah.
down to about 3 months.
From 2 years to 3 months. That is a huge improvement.
Massive. Huge efficiency gain. Plus, they could respond way faster to what customers actually wanted. It really shows how rethinking the process can make a giant difference.
Yeah, that really drives home how versatile these principles are. It's not just car parts on an assembly line. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive on lean management, what's the main takeaway for listeners, would you say?
I think the core message is that lean, even though it started in, a very specific place post-war Japan, car making it offers this really powerful, adaptable framework for improving efficiency, effectiveness, pretty much anywhere. By constantly looking for and eliminating waste, in all those forms we discussed, businesses can cut costs, yes, but also improve quality and ultimately make customers happier.
Right, and it's not just about penny pinching, is it? It's more fundamental. It's about rethinking how work gets done to create more value with, well, less effort, fewer resources.
Yeah.
Those principles, understanding customer pull, making sure work flows smoothly, matching the pace with takt time, always aiming for zero defects, they seem like really valuable guides.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As you go about your day, think about the processes you're involved in. At work, sure, but even running errands or, stuff at home, where could you apply some of these ideas? Where could you maybe get rid of unnecessary steps or cut down waiting times or just focus on doing it right the first time? You might be surprised at the improvements you could make just by thinking a little bit lean.